You actually traveled. You went across the pond and you went to the land of the bagpipes.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Went to like the distillery of Ballantine's where they make the whiskey. Can you tell us about how you felt inspired there and you decided to bring it back?
I went to the Highlands of Scotland, all right? I fed the reindeer, you dig it? All right? The cool thing about Ballantine's is that they store their whiskey in American barrels. So it's like the foundation of their own home of Scotland, but yet the attitude of America. And so I got a chance to bring them over here now. So of course, an honor and a privilege for me and a little bit of ego to bring them over and let them see our New York. You know what I mean? Bring them to record stores like this that still exist where you find all this great vinyl. It's always good to pilgrimage to places, you know, and learn. So I went to them and now I'm bringing them to me.
I respect that.
Respect.
How did you get into like records? Did you raid a family member's or a neighbor's collection? Did you go record shopping? Were you big into digging?
Yeah, listen, I got my first pair of turntables at the age of 11. I used to go down to the Music Factory, Downstairs Records and all of them and just look for break beats. You know, we heard, hip hop tapes from the classic MCs, Cold Crush and all of them. And we wanted to go try to find the records that they was using to make their demos or make their little mixtapes, right? By the time, I got 14, I had crates of records and I was DJing. I went from a straight arm turntable to the curve arm. Remember the Technique B10s? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the dream for me was always to get a pair of 1200s, right? Couldn't afford those. Those was like, in those days, maybe $200 a piece. But the beautiful thing about New York is that you could be walking down the streets, right? And you could see somebody who's moving out of their apartment and they're selling their furniture, they're selling their record player, and they're selling their vinyl. I still be going through the village and I'll see somebody with a whole bunch of vinyl just sitting on the sidewalk. You know what I did? I bought it. You know what I mean? And I didn't know what it was. I may come back and get back and it's like, wait, what is this Russian orchestra thing doing here? Or what is this Peter Pan vinyl? Oh wow, this guy has Superman radio show? Because in the old days, radio shows was on vinyl, Malcolm X speeches was on vinyl, because vinyl was the medium to share music. CDs wasn't out. In the early days was, once we would make them in the crib and then go to the studio, the studio didn't sound raw anymore. The demo always sounded better. And so when making the 36 Chambers, I was like, no, I'm not gonna let no engineer or no studio change the sound of the raw recordings that we captured. Of course, we had certain equipment that we didn't have an SSL to mix it on. We mixed it on a PV. A PV was more of a soundstage board, not for mixing records, but for performing. So you get this natural energy of performance, you know what I mean? That because of the board is made for that, you know what I mean? Right. But more importantly, the rawness of the music before you polish it was important to me, and I wanted it to sound raw. When you listen to reggae and you put on one of those records and you just hear that bass and you hear the low-fi frequency recordings.
I was also interested in finding out, you've also collaborated with Ballantine's, you got the C60.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out what is it that literally has RZA in it,
The cover, the dust cover itself, I've given some quotes for people. The way I want you to do it with it, you get it, you open it, you look at it, and you got all these little RZA quotes that's on the dust cover, right? Put that vinyl on, put the needle on, you get your little Ballantine's whiskey, and you sip it, and you listen to the music, right?
Yeah.
But also you read those quotes, because my quotes, are universal. Stay true to yourself, keep it real, you know what I mean? Yeah. If you can't hear us, know what that means? Then you're not in tune with us.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people are not in tune with us. And so, and maybe the Ballantines will get them in tune. Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe they gotta sip.
How have you stayed true with every move that you've made outside what people actually knew you for,
Well, for me, I'm me.
Yeah.
It's only one me. You know what I mean? And I'm very confident in myself and very confident as an artist that what I bring to a situation is me. It's like another way to look at it. It's like, you know, of course, when you make something, a stew or a soup or whatever, you know, you put all the ingredients. You make whiskey, they put different ingredients.
Yeah.
Right? But there still is a base ingredient.
Yeah.
Without that base ingredient, it ain't whiskey.
Yeah.
And for me, without that base ingredient, it ain't from the RZA.
Yeah.
And that base ingredients is like, it's the tangible energy of myself that I'm confident in. So no matter which chamber we enter, as we mentioned 36 chambers, you still enter every chamber with the same intention, the same purity of yourself. So whether you're doing film, music, cuisine, doesn't matter. You always bring yourself to it because you are that secret ingredient that makes things special.